Hey, everybody, and welcome to day 20 of 30 Days of How to Be Successful with your host, which is me, Jody, Almond. And I'm glad to be with you tonight, and I'm looking forward to being able to discuss some things with you this evening. And so we've been talking the last day or so about time management and how to make the most of your minutes. And I believe that it's so crucial for you to make the most of the time that you have. And we've discussed how that we spend our time on three essential areas of our life. Quite a bit of time there, which is sleeping, social media, and spending time in front of the television. That's excluding all the other activities we normally would do. Then yesterday, I began talking to you about how to plan your time. Make sure you plan your day. And I hope that you found that to be somewhat successful today by planning today if you went into that exercise from yesterday. But I want to go a little bit farther, and I was trying to get you some slideshow material today. For whatever reason, it would not cooperate, so I'm going to just explain it to the best of my abilities without you having a visualization. And hopefully I can throw you a visualization up under this video. And so look in the comments under the video, and hopefully you'll find that if you're on Facebook. If you're on YouTube, I won't have that visualization, but I believe you can very easily figure it out and figure out your system and your way to do it. It's not very difficult. But you may be asking, who are you? I am the founder and CEO of Solution Ministries, which is a ministry where I do life coaching and business coaching, as well as I am a motivational teacher and an author of a #1 best-selling book that has made it to #1 on Amazon in the first 5 days. And let me throw that up there for you. Again, we're going to talk about time management this evening, but that's not what I want to show you. That's what I want to show you is that we're going to talk about that, right? So we're going to be talking about how that I have applied these teachings and these techniques and help people to get there. And so with that being said, we are going to talk about time management tonight, and we're going to discuss those things. And so I'm ready to jump into the lesson. And again, tonight's going to be a little different. It's going to be just me and you and the camera, and we're just going to talk. And so when we talk about prioritization, I want to talk to you about that this evening because we talked about being prepared, and that brings me to prioritization. And I talked about prioritization yesterday already slightly. But to prioritize something means, when I say it, I mean make a list of the things that you need to accomplish versus the things that can wait. And that's what prioritizing is, right? Like we prioritize what bills have to be paid. We prioritize, a lot of different things in our life. And so when we're talking about priorities, like I prioritize people, who's most important to me, who is a little less down on the scale, who is farther down, and these kinds of things. And it's actually very practical to have priorities and prioritize things in your life. And so when we talk about that, I call these two categories for me and the way I teach it, the now and later. Now, I'm not talking about the candy. I'm talking about what we want to do. And so when we talk about now and later, here's an example. So take out a piece of paper, and this is what I had done. And you want to divide the piece of paper in half. So if you've got a regular notebook piece of paper, you want to draw a line down the center of it and divide it in half. Now, what you want to do on the left side of that page is draw a line across in the middle of that page. So you've got a line in half and a line across meeting that line. So you would have something that looked like this, or actually this, whichever way you draw it. But you would have one half of the page cut into two sections and the other half wide open. On the side that is cut into two sections, on the top, I want you to write the word now. On the bottom section, I want you to write the word later. Then on the other side that is wide open, I want you to write importance, okay? And what you're going to do is the things that you have to do, let's say we're planning like we did yesterday. So we're planning for tomorrow. And tomorrow, let's say that I'm going to use me. Let's say here's some things that I have in mind that I know I need to do tomorrow. Tomorrow I have to spend time with my family. Tomorrow I have to invest in myself. Tomorrow I have to take time to do this, the 30 days of success. Tomorrow I have to make some phone calls for the church, and tomorrow I have to try to do some consultations with some people. And then maybe lastly, tomorrow some things I'd like to try to get accomplished is I'd like to try to get my audiobook recorded. Maybe I'd like to try to get my new book I'm writing on, some more progress in that. And maybe I really want to try to start exercising. So that's on the list too, because I need to exercise. It's good for me. I need to stay healthy so that I can continue to be successful in all areas of my life. So when I understand that, now I've got my list of what I need to do tomorrow. And now I take that list and I separate it into what has to be done and cannot wait. So that's the now, right? I'm prioritizing my list of to-dos for tomorrow. So that's my now. And in my now, let's say that my now is the things that I cannot put off. I cannot forego doing tomorrow. Is I am definitely going to spend time with my family. I am definitely going to do my consult calls. They're scheduled. I am definitely going to do the 30 days of success with you. I am definitely going to, I'm trying to rehash my thinking in my brain. I am definitely going to make my church calls. Those are 4 things I'm definitely going to do. I need to really do those things immediately, as soon as possible, scheduled out in time tomorrow, and I need to get those done. So let's say that my plan is when I wake up, I'm going to get those things. Those are the top of the priorities on my list. Underneath that, I'm going to have my laters. My laters are going to be that I want to get my audiobook finished recording. I want to write on my other book some. I want to exercise. I want to get some of those other things I mentioned done. Okay, I wish I had the graph in front of me. So here's what you want to do: is you want to then go over to the important side. And when you go over to the important side, what you want to do is you want to prioritize these things, because by prioritizing them, what you're doing is you're saying these are the things of importance. So now I've got the things that cannot wait. I need to get them done tomorrow. So as I'm looking at that, and listen, this is what I say. Make a list, okay? When you're doing this section on importance, you want to do it by numbering them from most important being number 1 to least important being number 5. Now that you have your priorities list, you have your importance list. So now what you want to do is you want to begin to start kind of cross-checking those lists. And what I mean by that is, for example, someone may list spending quality time with their family each day as number 1, but also have down that they want to complete a task for work by the end of the day. Now, if you plan ahead as mentioned above, and as I mentioned yesterday, you can be better equipped by becoming intentional and accomplishing both of your growth goals for the day ahead. You can take time to invest in your career by accomplishing the task for your company, and also make quality time in the day for your family. So here's what that looks like. So now I look at my list and I say I've got my priorities. Now, by importance of prioritization. So I want to spend time with my family. Where does that fall in a scale of 1 to 5 compared to making my church calls, doing my consult calls, getting 30 days of success in, investing in myself? Those are my top 5, right? They're things that I have to do. So where do they fall in prioritization? In importance, where do they fall? So I've got them over here in my nows. Those have to be done. They can't be put on the back burner. Every day, those things are going to have to be done. And you can make your list more than 5. If you have 5 essential things you're going to do every day, then it can be. But realize in another 10 days, this is off my plate, okay? So I'm not doing the 30 days of success after this month. I added that in for this month. And so after this month, it will be freed up. So I'll not have those 5 things. The things that are going to continue in my life every day are spending time with my family, investing in myself. Those are the 2 constants, right? So I can just leave them on the list. And they're usually going to fall in the same general criteria on my importance list. And this is what I mean by that. So in importance, if I get nothing else accomplished in the day, I'm going to do my very best to spend at least an hour to 2 hours with my family every day. I used to not be that guy. I used to be the guy that would do everything else and family fell where family fell. But let me tell you what I've learned. I appreciate my time with my family more now than I ever have. And so I want to spend time with my family. I don't want to get to the end of life and be a success in professional life, but be a failure in personal life. I believe that my personal life flows into my professional life. And if I have a good home life, if everything is going smoothly at home, it helps my professional life to go much better. And so, with that understanding and that concept in mind, what I'm trying to get you to see is if you don't spend time with your family, I'm not calling you a failure. I'm just saying reconsider your priorities. All right. When we look at the Word of God, God puts family on a high standard in things, and I'm a faith-based teacher in most of what I do. And so with that concept, I believe you should always cut out time for your family. And I didn't add God in because everybody watching this isn't faith-based, but for me, that investing time in myself is my time with God as well. And so here we go. I'm going to put number 1, spending time with my family. Number 2, investing in myself from a business perspective and a personal growth perspective. I'm going to invest in myself. Number three is I'm going to put down that I'm going to make sure I do my consults. All right. I'm going to do my consults and my church calls. 3 would probably be church calls. Number 4 would be consults. And number 5 would be doing this. And you say, well, you've put us at the bottom of the barrel. No, it's just that this is a temporary thing. All the other things are regular, every month to month, week to week things in my life. And so that would be my priority list for today, of list of importance. So when I did this yesterday, that's where my priority list fell. Now, here's what I do to make it even more impactful for me. Is I will then go in and I will color code everything before I do that. Before I do my 5 important things, I will color code it by importance, if you will. So maybe a red highlighter, a red or pink, whatever color you want to use, okay? So let's use green. Green means go, right? So let's use the 3 colors of the stoplight. So green means go. So we're going to use green to highlight anything that is of my 5 importance. My 5 important things are going to be highlighted as green. Now, maybe your important things don't have to be done, but in the list you have, they are of importance. You really want to get these things done. You want to get ahead of the curve. It's not down to the deadline. You want to stay proactive and be ahead. So you're going to go ahead and highlight them green, right? So let's say I'm going to highlight mine green. Then the 5 things I just mentioned to you, green on time with my family, green on getting 30 days of success, green on doing the phone calls for my church, green on investing in myself, and green on consultation calls. Those 5 things are green. Now I get down to, let's say, exercise. Exercise, I'm going to go to red. That means I don't have to do it right now. It's something I really want to do and I want to implement into my daily schedule, but it doesn't have to be done right this second. So in prioritization, it's not something, so I'm reading it. It means stop here. You know, if I get time and I can get it accomplished, then great. But if I don't, no biggie. Audiobook and the writing of my book, let's say that they both go in red for today because, again, they are something I need to get accomplished, but maybe I don't have time. Maybe there's something else that's preoccupying my time today. Maybe those consult calls, maybe I have 4 of them today. That is 2 hours. And if I add the 33%, now we're up to 3 hours. And so now we're at, 3 to 4 hours of my day is taken up with that. An hour and a half with this, we're up to 5.5 hours. And then investing in myself is going to be another hour to 2 hours. So now we're up to 7 hours. And now we're right at the 8-hour mark, which is a normal work day. And then I'm going to spend 2 hours with my family, right? And so we're looking at those things and we're seeing that now my day is getting full and it's on my agenda. Like I told you yesterday, your calendar will be filled up with either your agenda or someone else's agenda. If it's someone else's agenda, they're not worried about you being successful. If it's your agenda, you're trying to become successful. So I would always fill up my calendar with my agenda. because my agenda, I know what needs to be done. Everybody else in the world doesn't know my schedule. They don't know my life. They don't know what I'm trying to accomplish. They don't know the things I'm doing. And so why would I let them fill up my calendar for me? I'm going to take care of my calendar, and I will fit them into my calendar if it is very good for my life and my calendar and my success that I'm going for. If it's not, then they might not get time in my calendar, and we'll talk about that more later this week. But here's the thing, is that when we're talking about this, I hope it's not confusing. I really don't. So let me visualize it for you. I've got my chart, right? Up here, I've got now. Down here, I've got later. I've got my nows, and I've already told you those 5 things. Down here, I've got laters, okay? Over here, to this side, I've got importance. But before I can do the importance, I want to color code them. I want to make sure that everything's color coded, okay? Because let's assume that I only had 3 nows and 5 or 7 laters. I can only choose 5 things that is of the greatest importance in my day. These are the 5 things I'm going to knock out first thing. So let's say that I go to my calendar and I say, okay, so I've got a consult at 8 a.m., I've got a consult at 11 a.m., and I've got a consult at 3 p.m. Now, I've got my day sporadically stretched out. In between that time, I have to find time to do the other things I need to do, right? I have to build this because at 7:30 p.m. I have to do this, okay? Now, I'm not including eating and things like that, taking a shower. Those are everyday things that we do that takes our time, right? But I'm not including those things. Let's get just generalized. Let's say that I have a doctor's appointment, okay? Let's say I've got a hair appointment. Let's say that I've got a date with my wife, okay? And then let's say that I've got a meeting with a business partner, and the other things are, and the other things are not now. So let's say at 8 a.m. for the nows, at 8 a.m., I've got a doctor's appointment. At noon, I have a date with my wife. At 3, I have a meeting with somebody about business. All right. And so let's say that I take those things and I say, okay, so in prioritization for tomorrow, what comes first? 8 a.m. It's simple. It comes on the clock first. Green. Okay. What else do I have to do tomorrow? I've already scheduled, me and my wife have cut out time for a date for an hour and a half to go to lunch. That's green. I've already scheduled at 3 o'clock a time to meet with this person to talk about business. Green. Okay. Now down below that in the other stuff, I have, let's say that I have my audiobook, and let's say that I have writing my new book, and let's say that I have, I don't know, maybe doing some social media stuff. All right. And so all that's later. It can be handled later. And so I go down there and I say, what needs to really be done first? I begin looking at it. What can go yellow? What can be next in line? What doesn't have to stop? Let's say that social media stuff's not important. It goes red. Let's say that the working on the new book, it's a work in progress, but it's not quite there, so it goes red. But in yellow, I put the audiobook because I really want to get that completed. All right. And so I yellow the audiobook. Now, when I go to my list of 5 things, I've got 3 at the top, 3 at the bottom, right? And so now I'm looking by color code. It makes it simple for me. I've already done the mental work. And so I go over here and I write importance. Number 1, spend time with my family. Number 1, it's always there, right? I told you that. It's always number 1. Number 2, I have this doctor's appointment at 8 a.m. that I can't miss. Number 3, date with my wife. Number 4, I've got this meeting with this financial person. And number 5, okay, no more greens. Now I go down to my yellow. It's in later, but you guess what? It gets slid in today. I get to work on my audiobook because I have time cut out. I have prioritized my day and I have time cut out. Now, if you really want to get to planning and prioritization, now here's where it goes to the next level. And I know you say, man, this sounds like a lot of work. It's going to make you stay on a schedule if you adhere to it and keep your life. Now, does things come out of left field and knock us off our feet? Absolutely. Absolutely. You may get the phone call that somebody's passed away. You may get the phone call that you won the lottery. Who knows? It could go either way. But here's the thing is that you want to be prepared. You want to plan. And by planning this way, by being strategic and intentional, you're getting yourself in the success mindset. This is what successful people do. They prioritize their schedule for the week or for the day ahead. If you get to where you do this a week at a time, it's great because now the week coming up, I know everything I need to do. Every day I need to do it, and it's done. I may sit down for an hour and do this, but that hour is going to save me multiple hours in the week coming because it's already planned out. And you say, I'm not a guy or a girl to go by schedule, Jody. I can tell you I wasn't either. I flew by the seat of my pants most of my life. Most of my life will come what may. We'll take it as it comes, do as we will. Let's go, let's roll, let's do this. But I have learned so tremendously that by planning ahead there's been days that I've slipped up and I didn't plan ahead when I started doing this. And can I tell you something? It did not work out very well for me. When I plan ahead, it makes my week run so much more efficient. And I promise you it will make your week run much more efficient. Get in the habit, get in the practice, because then what happens is I've got my 5 things. Time with my family, right? Going to the doctor. These are practical things. Going to the doctor. Number 3, what do I have number 3? Going on a date with my wife, you remember? Number 4, I've got an appointment with a business partner. And number 5, I'm going to work on my audiobook. Hooray, hooray. All right? And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my times. What do I already have delegated? What I have delegated, now remember my 33% rule. What I have delegated is I have delegated to go to the doctor. We all know going to the doctor takes an hour. Okay, so I'm going to go to the doctor from 8 to 9 p.m. Now, do I have drive time? Of course I have drive time. So let's say that it takes me 30 minutes to drive there and 30 minutes to drive back. So from 8 to 10 p.m., I'm slotted. Nothing else can fall in that time frame. Now, if I get back home at 10 a.m., all right, from 10 a.m., then what's going to happen is I have from 10 to 12 with my wife for lunch. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to look over my importance list, and this is where I begin to break down and schedule my day. So on my importance list, it's not necessarily by importance now. It's by how can I make the most efficiency of my list. So how long do I need to work on my audiobook? 2 hours. I've got an appointment with my wife. I've got an appointment with my friend that is scheduled. My wife is at 12. My friend is at 3. I got time I want to spend with my family. That normally is going to happen in the evenings, okay, after 6 o'clock, all right, usually. Well, let's just say truthfully, around 5 o'clock, okay? So between 5 and 7, I'm spending time with my family, all right? And so let's say that I'm planning my day. So here we go. I've got 8 to 10 for the doctor, 10 to 12, or let's say 10 to 11:45, okay? I'm going to spend an hour and a half on my audiobook. 15%, 33% over is 15 minutes. And so I've got from 8 to 10 for the doctor. And then I've got from 10 to 11:45, okay, to work on my audiobook. Then I've got getting prepared to go to lunch with my wife. So from 12 to 1:30, I have delegated for spending time with my wife. Then from 1:30, we'll come back home, get back home, let's say at 2 o'clock. And then I have an hour. What am I going to do with that hour? I'm going to build this. I'm going to build this. It's on my list, okay? It's on my list, so I'm building this, okay? And so I'm building this out, and then I've got 3 o'clock meeting, all right? So from 2 to 3, then at 3, I'm going to jump on that video chat meeting, the Zoom meeting with my professional partner. We're going to talk from 3 to 3:30, but I'm going to give him till 4 because I'm going to go a little over because it's a business meeting. So from 3 to 4, I have that. Now I've got in everything I wanted to do, and I am completely done except for spending time with my family by 4 o'clock. I've got an extra hour. What do I do with the extra hour? Do you remember social media presence was down there as a stop? Do you remember that working on my writing book was a stop? Guess what? If something comes up, I've got an extra hour to play with. Let's say that I get a phone call that somebody's called and needs to talk to me about something with the church. Okay, I call. I get it done in that hour. Things shift, things go. You've got to be flexible. But if nothing happens, I've got an hour. I get to work on social media. I get to work on my book. Now I get to glance at my list and say, hey, what did I have? Did I have anything else that I can get accomplished in this hour? I don't want to just waste it. I don't want to just waste time. So what can I get accomplished? What can I get ahead on? Maybe I can notch out something. You know what I could do? I could build my program for tomorrow. I could have tomorrow's session built out. That way, guess what? If something sideswipes me tomorrow, no biggie. It's built. It's built. Okay? And so you can always do that. And what you want to concentrate on is those top 5 things every day. Make sure you get those done. And then if you have free time, get them done. This works for a housewife. A housewife says, hey, I've got to get the kids up and get them dressed. I've got to cook supper. I need to clean the house tomorrow. I need to go to the grocery store, and I won't just take some time for myself. Okay? So what is the itemization? What is the priorities? Color code it, itemize it. Or you don't have to color code it. Just itemize it. Look at it. Itemize it. But the color coding does help because we are visual creatures. And so when you look at it, you see green, go, yellow, it's on hold, red, it's waiting. It's not important today. Okay? Now, what might happen is a month from now, me writing my book may take precedence. It may be huge. It may be up here. Me doing my audiobook next week may be a matter of I have to get this done. It keeps getting pushed away. I have to get it done. It has to become a matter of importance. So every week and every month and every year, your importance in prioritizing is going to change. But this is just a simple way for you to plan and prioritize your days, your weeks, your months, and your years. And I promise you, it may sound tedious. It may sound very much like a pain in your neck, okay? I promise I am not gifted to be an administrator. This came very unnaturally for me. It had to be something I worked at. It's not something that is second nature to me. I've got a very good friend and a very close companion that I do church business with and that I go to and talk to about business things sometimes. And the reason why is because he is a huge administrator. And so in that, he's like a confidant to me. And what I do with him is I'll be like, hey, tell me, man, how do I do this? What's the best way you found to do this? And he will give me advice. And I can tell you that this person plans out things. He prioritizes things, and I do too. And Jesus does too. God does too. Let me prove it to you in the last statement I'm going to give you today. The Bible says, I told you yesterday, God is a planner, that God saw and knows the end before the beginning. Can I tell you what he says? Before he created anything in the universe, Jesus was the lamb slain before the foundation of the world. When God looked at priorities, he didn't say, let's make man and see what happens. He knew what was going to happen. And so he said, before I ever start the creation, my priority is giving man a way to be reconciled to God. And so therefore, Jesus, Son, I'm going to let you shed your blood so that man can be restored to me. That's the first thing on my priority list. I am going to, in my mind, foretelling the future, create you as the first human in my mind. Right? Isn't this awesome? I'm going to create you as the first human in my mind that's going to be slain before I ever create the human on earth, because they're going to need you more than they're going to need Adam. Can I tell you something, friend? God is into prioritization. God is into planning. If you don't believe me, go read the book of Genesis and learn about Joseph's story and how he had to plan and prioritize in Egypt so that everybody could be fed. It's a part of life for people who are successful. And I encourage you to just try implementing these teachings and these tools I gave you today. Try planning, and as you plan, prioritize, and we'll jump in tomorrow and continue this teaching. I hope it's been helpful. I hope it's not been confusing. I apologize for the fact that my program did not want to be cooperative today and download it and allow me. And I've tried multiple times and it just would not work. So forgive me for that misnomer and not being able to get that, I apologize, but I hope you got it in your head, and I'll try to put it in the post underneath this if it'll let me download it. So I'll try to do that, but I hope you have a great day, and until we can talk again, God bless. Take care.